All right. Greetings, everybody. It's a pleasure to welcome you to our LD11 meeting. Whether you're a longtime advocate for our community or joining us for the first time, we are grateful to see you and so many engaged and passionate people here today. LD11, we're more than just a district. This is our home. It's where we live, work, raise our families, and build our future. And the reason we're here today is simple. We care. We care about the direction of our community, the well-being of our neighbors, and the policies that shape our daily lives. And it's not just about legislation or politics, it's about the people in this district. It's about making sure every voice is heard, every concern is addressed, and every opportunity is explored. That's why everybody's presence here matters. Whether you have ideas, questions, or you just want to listen and learn, your involvement and engagement helps us make real progress. I encourage all of us to approach today's discussion with open minds and share a goal of moving LD11 forward. We may not always be on the same page on everything, but when we work together with respect and purpose, we can accomplish great things. So it's time to roll up our sleeves, have some meaningful conversations, and most importantly, let's make a difference. Thank you for being here, and let's get started. So I'm going to ask our secretary for approval of the agenda, and I'm going to drop the agenda in the box here. Hold on.
You know I approve the agenda.
You do?
I love it.
You love the agenda. You love the agenda mainly because you've helped me so much this week. So let's drop that in our chat.
I may have to mute myself because of the animal orchestra.
Well, we may like it. We may like it.
One of the dogs is whining.
Great, great, great. All right. And then, so can I get an approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting? Absolutely.
Yes,
All right.
indeed.
Let me hear voices. Okay. And then, or I already hear voices. I don't know. But and we're a whole new team, so it's gonna be real cool tonight to work through this with you guys. So please be kind. And then I'm going to drop our last month's minutes. And it's not allowing me to share. Great. Well, let's see. Won't let me share. Let's see if it'll let me share now. No. Okay. I may need to get some help from our former chair, Patrick. Patrick, we'll move on, but we'll come back to it. Can you still see our minutes from December?
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay, if you can drop that, we'll come back to that. All right, we're gonna keep moving on, and guys, this is gonna be real interesting. So I'm gonna go ahead with the officer reports, and I'm going to start with our chair report, who I guess is me. See if I'm ready. All right, let's share. All right. All right, here we go. So we have a brand new, as I've said, committee, totally. And Here are all of our committee members. And we are so happy to be able to serve you and to be able to make sure that, our first meeting is successful. So, first thing we're going to do is say Happy Black Making History Month. I've renamed it Blacks Making History Month. And this is coming from all of the people. We're celebrating and reflecting on those American warriors who fought for justice for all, coming from all walks of life, this American experience. Also, let us develop and support those stepping up to continue to fight until all are free. And we have to remember the rising tide lifts all boats. Since our last LD11 meeting in December, the state and Maricopa County Democratic Party reorganization conventions took place. And we want to just say congratulations to the new and retained leaders that are ready to take the Democratic Party to the next level. We want to say congratulations, like I said, to our MCDP Executive Board. You'll see their names up there. You see them in passing. Tell them hi and congratulate them, and let's get to work. Want to also say congratulations to the new Black Engagement Committee co-chairs, Dr. Victoria Iyamba and our own Patrick Brown. Join them for their meeting tomorrow evening, and we are definitely in good hands with them. So this is just a slide to remind us of the LD11 shared public values that we have. Education, health and well-being, jobs and economic opportunities for not just our LD, but our state and beyond. And we're definitely strong in our environmental and sustainable future. And we want fair, just, and equitable systems. And we all need to engage in civic engagement and leadership. And we're going to talk a little more about that later. And as we know, if you're in the United States of America, right now, we have a lot of things going on in the area of immigration. So we want immigration reform, and we want to make sure that there's a pathway to people that want to be citizens and for the dreamers. And we want to stop, the ICE raids in our country and get back to reforming our immigration. And then also we want to work to secure reproductive health rights and healthcare justice. So what are we going to do in 2025? We can only succeed with all of us working together. I'm going to drop a Google form link in the chat, and I'm requesting everyone to take a few minutes of your time to complete the form, even if you've already done so. Invite your friends and family and coworkers, anyone you know that can help us make change. And as soon as I'm done with my report, that document will drop in the chat. Field activities are those things that we do out in the community and in our county and in our state. And those include things like canvassing, things like phone banking, text banking, lit drops, all of those sorts of things, those fun things. And everybody has their niche. So whatever your niche is, we're just asking you to be a part of what we're doing in 2025 and beyond. And of course, any LD, we need to do some fundraising so that we can get out in the community and we can pay for those things, because everything has a cost to it. And we want to be responsible, but we also need fundraising. And we're going to, of course, ask at the end of the meeting for your help in not only fundraising, but also donating. Next is communication, whether it be helping us on our newsletter, on social media, whatever skills and abilities you have, we are asking that you definitely join us and put your skills and abilities to work so that we can communicate the good work that we're doing and communicate those things that we can get civically engaged into. Our precinct committee members are very important. We have over 50, but we're being outpaced by the Republican Party. So we need precinct committee people to get involved and step up. And we also need, volunteers. If you're not ready to be a precinct committee member, maybe just volunteer where you can. And the reason we're here is to also get Democratic candidates recruited and get them elected in office. So finally, I want everyone to stay focused, be calm, be resolute in protecting our democracy. There are 21 months for each of us to make an impact while we're taking care of ourselves, our families, while we impact our communities, being city, state, federal government, one person at a time, one action at a time. Thank you so much for joining us in this journey. And that's the chair report. All right. So next, let me get out of this. Okay, next, our first vice chair. What do you got for us, first vice chair? Chester.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chester Bokich. I'm the new first vice chair. I've been with the party. I mean, I've been a registered Democrat for decades, but been with the party for a little over 2 years now. So, like, I highly encourage other people to get involved. Just like Cygnus said, we're being outpaced in the PC area in our district by 2-1. We need more PCs. If you're on the fence, I say take the plunge because very little is actually required of a PC, but so much more can be done if you want to step up. So if you're not a PC, become one. You can just let one of us know and we'll get the information to you. I believe it is too late to be elected, but we do have the ability to make provisional PCs. So anyone can become a PC as long as you're a registered Democrat. We currently have 25 precincts in our district that do not have committee people. So we are vastly underrepresented in our district. So please step up if you're not one already. Second thing I wanted to talk about is, right now we do have a whole lot of bullshit coming out of Washington. Okay, we're all aware of it. I'm not going to dwell on it. This isn't really the space where we just vent. This is a space where we want to take action and do something about it. So for myself, it definitely has been affecting my sleep, all of the news. And if any of you are affected and you find yourself tossing and turning at night, I would encourage you. There's a few simple things that I have started doing. The biggest is stop paying attention to the news about 3 or 4 hours before you go to bed. It's that easy because your subconscious then has time to process all of that information before you go to sleep. It makes a big difference. Instead of your subconscious processing it while you're trying to sleep or even sleeping. Lord knows I've woken up in the middle of the night halfway through a rant about trans rights or something that these guys are trying to take away and is upsetting me. So there's all kinds of stuff, but rather than watching the news or listening to the news right before bed, read a book, go for a walk, learn a skill, watch a comedy, something that brings you joy, or talk to your family. about anything other than politics, right? So just step away from it a few hours before bed. It'll do wonders for your sleep and your mental health. Another thing that we should be doing, especially during this cycle, is focusing on local and not national politics. There's not a whole lot that we can do right now about what's happening in Washington, unless you're a lawyer, and then you have skills and abilities you can volunteer or even get paid for. But for myself, volunteer work is what I've got, and there are so many organizations here in Arizona that are fighting for our rights at the local level. Opportunity Arizona, I met with them today for a press conference. They're pushing with our representative Oscar de los Santos. They're pushing for affordable housing. Oscar was supposed to be here tonight. He actually emailed me about 20 minutes ago to say he can't make it because he's still at the Capitol. But he has introduced bills to limit the number of houses corporations can purchase in Arizona, limit their ability to purchase houses unless a house has been on the market with no bids for 60 days. And then another bill to kind of increase the transparency on these corporations if they own more than 6 houses. So there's bills in there, but unfortunately, Republicans are preventing these bills from even making it to committee at this point. So, the work has to be done. I would say call your senator, but she's already here and she's already aware. And there's only so much again that we can do in LD11, which already has the representation we want as Democrats. But if you know people in other districts, tell them and make them contact their representatives and senators. It's all about networking and doing what you can with what you've got. And as far as local politics and policies and political news are concerned, I highly recommend Arizona Agenda. It is a daily newsletter. They report on local politics and politicians. They send out an email 5 days a week with pretty extensive reports on what is happening at the Capitol and around the state. It's arizonaagenda.com. You can sign up to get it for free. You can also subscribe for $10 a month to support the local reporting. And they also just started 3 sub newsletters that are once a week. There's one on AI, there's one on education, and the third is on water. So that's azaiagenda.substack.com, azeducationagenda.substack.com, and azwateragenda.substack.com. So I encourage everyone to follow the ones that they're interested in, and definitely follow the main one to keep abreast of what's happening in our state. It's all very important. And get involved. One last thing I want to talk about. There are some special elections happening in 2025, not in Arizona, but that doesn't mean you can't volunteer. There are 2 U.S. representative races in Florida that are on April 1st. One is to replace Matt Gaetz. Thank God he's out, but they're just going to replace him with someone else who sucks, right? So we need to put in the work to help that candidate. And then the other is to replace Mike Waltz, I think the name was, Matt Waltz, something. But you can volunteer to phone bank or text bank or do social media for them, even if you don't live in that state or district. So by all means, you can be involved. You can still affect national politics, even though the elections here are over. So I'll put my email address in the chat. If anyone is interested in any of the things I've talked about and they want more information, please email me and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And I'm done. Did I make it under 5 minutes?
Yes, first vice chair, you did your thing.
All right.
Thank you. I know our second vice chair is recovering. I don't know if she's.
I'm good. I
You're
got
good?
make it short and sweet, guys.
Okay.
I got hit with the stomach thing. So I'm Lindsay Barentine. I am your second vice chair. I was with this past weekend at a chair retreat with both Shelby and our wonderful leader, Signa, with the county Democrats. With the leadership shakeup, the biggest thing I want to focus on is recruitment. It starts at the bottom. It starts in your neighborhood with your PCs. It starts with your neighbors. We can't be successful in 2026 if we don't build from the ground up now and spend this entire year getting trained, getting the information. We're already focused as a board on better communication, more things, more in getting everything done within us as a group, because we can't move our already wonderful precinct forward further until we get together and we get more PCs. It starts from the bottom up, and with between PCs to us as your board and LD to the county, all the way up to the county chair, all the way up to the state chair, they're all from our district, guys. We've got some amazing badass representatives working for us. And I think, if we just focus on getting us all trained, working together, stay with us as a board because we're all new, and really being patient with us, but submit your ideas and recommendations as well. We're all ears. We want to hear what you have to say. We're here to support each other, but we're also here to make a damn difference. That's the biggest thing. We are here to make a difference. So reach out to us, and seeing in the chat, every spot matters. Focus on those other races. We're rebuilding. We are going to be stronger and better than ever. We got some events coming up at the Levine Barbecue that I will let these guys speak to because I'm not feeling fabulous right now. But reach out. We're here. You'll see me there. It's going to be a good year, and I'm thrilled. We're going to have a lot of amazing resources, and everybody has a chance to get involved, and we could just even be better and better and better. And there's going to be a lot of communication with other legislative districts as well. So you have our promise as your board in this, and from the county all the way up to the state. We are going to do what we do because we care, and we're Democrats, and we are resilient, and we are better than this. That's what I'll leave you with.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
And so we're going to move on to our secretary. Anything you want to share with the
I just
good
want to
people?
introduce myself as your faithful
Absolutely.
secretary, your new secretary. I'll be cranking out your meeting minutes, which I will have to everybody tomorrow, a summary of what we've discussed at this meeting. And just a little bit about me. I got started with local politics after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And as a woman, this offended me so deeply that I thought, what can I do about this? So I found out I could endorse candidates that were supported by Planned Parenthood. And so I worked with Laura Koppel and Ryan McNeary at the MCDP office on Washington. And then that got me started working for volunteering for Mission AZ. That's how I met Patrick and Signa. And my involvement has just continued to grow. And I've met some amazing people. I did notice a fair amount of people in this meeting are not yet PCs. And I'm in the Euclid precinct and there are only 4 PCs in my entire precinct. So please consider doing this and helping the community. And so to speak to Lindsay's point, Signa, Lindsay, and I, we were at the Democratic retreat, and we learned so much good information, data gathering, fundraising techniques, just getting organized. And as we've all said, please bear with us. We are new. So thank you. And thank you for letting me be your secretary. I am honored. And do lots of yoga. Just as Chester was speaking of self-care, take deep breaths and do lots of yoga. I am a yoga teacher, so it's my favorite outlet. So thank you.
I'm going to have to take one of those classes. I'm telling you, I'm going to have to take one of those classes. So anyway, thank you so much, Shelby. And then Sadia is ready with our treasurer's report. Go, Sadia.
Okay, hi. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Sadia. I got reelected to treasurer. That's my second term as treasurer, and I'm really honored to serve. And I've lived in Levine for, I think, around 8 years. So last month, I filed our quarterly report to the Secretary of State, and I'll made sure we filed it on time, because the last thing I want to do is to have fines. And now I'm going to communicate our finance. So our bank balance as of January 31st was $4,308.25. And last month in January, we raised around $175.50, and they came from our recurring donors from ActBlue. So we also provided a link if you guys want to be a donor. You can donate one time, or you can sign up to be a recurring donor. Any small amount will help. As Signa, Chester, and Lindsay and Shelby said, we have to focus on the local level, because we don't get a lot of big money from the national and state level. And that will help like recruit volunteers, help with voter registration, communicate our message to our communities. And then last month we spent $358.03. Our major expense last month was $244 to the United States Post Office for a monthly PO annual rental. And the rest were like monthly expenses such as Google, MailChimp, and Zoom to communicate our message. And then also shared a link earlier. If you still need me to share it, I'll share it again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sadia. Those are all of our officers' reports. I expected somebody from the new Democratic Party reorg to be on, but apparently they're not there. But we did see a massive change in our Arizona Democratic Party. Several of the seats turned over, and we definitely have a new party, and it's going to be a breath of fresh air to, go to that next level with Democrats in Arizona. So we're excited about that. And then the next on our agenda was Rep. De Los Santos, but as we just heard, he's still stuck at the Capitol. So Andrew, are you teed up and ready? Andrew is here speaking on behalf of our U.S. House Representative Ansari.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew Simic. I'm the field representative for Congresswoman Ansari. Thank you very much for having me, Signa, and the rest of the board. You guys are amazing in LD11. It's great to be here with you all tonight. I promise I won't take up too much more of your guys' time, but just wanted to give a very brief update today. Today was actually a very special day for Congresswoman Ansari. She actually introduced her first piece of legislation titled the Celebrating the Legacy and Contributions of Immigrants and Imposing Discriminatory Immigration Policies. So Representative Ansari's newly introduced legislation is in direct opposition to the executive orders and policies of the Trump administration. And I hope I can answer some questions for you guys that you might have today. But I would also like to invite you guys to come to our town hall event that we are hosting this Saturday. I will post the link for the RSVP in the chat if you guys would like to attend that. It's going to be hosted in West Phoenix, but if you guys can make the trip out there this Saturday, we'd love to have you all there. Last week, that's something that's very special to Phoenix. The Prisma Community Care, which is a nonprofit in Arizona's 3rd District, was not able to draw down funds from federal funding because of the Trump proposed freeze on that. Representative Ansari elevated the issues to HHS, and now thousands of Arizonans now have critical access to care like HIV treatments. So that was at risk from the Trump administration. Because of us raising that issue to HHS, we were able to get those funds released, and we were able to help thousands of Arizonans with that. And then let me see real quick. And then one brief update for later on this month, we're going to be hosting our community swearing in. Again, you guys are all invited to that. I'll drop the RSVP for that as well if you are interested in attending that. But just really excited. I think Representative Ansari is doing a wonderful job for us. And if you guys have any questions, I would love to be able to take those at this time.
Awesome. Anyone with any questions, you can drop it in either the chat for Andrew or just unmute yourself and have a conversation with him. Thank you, Andrew. That's some good stuff that you're dropping on us. And we thank you so much. The town hall link is in the chat. Andrew just dropped it there. And is there a way that later on they can get a hold of the office if they have any questions, Andrew? You want to drop your email in the chat?
Absolutely. I'll drop my email. I'll also give you guys all my personal phone number right now so that you guys can have that. I'm not using my house given number a whole lot yet because we just got our technology, but I'll give you guys all of that if you would like to get in contact with me at any time or our office. We are ready to help with whatever federal agency services you might need. If you guys have any issues with Social Security, for example, I'm seeing a lot of young faces in here, so maybe not so much Social Security, but if you guys ever need any help with immigration issues, VA benefits, things like that, we'd love to be able to help you guys out and provide you with whatever resources our office can. So let me get you guys my number and let me get you guys my house email real quick.
All right. Any questions? Going once, going twice? Well, thank you, Andrew. We appreciate you. Well, come back anytime and give us updates or anything else you need, because these are the people that are going to make it happen in LD11. They are amazing. So let's see. So we do have two special guests. One is Maya Witt. She's from Unity Rising. And Maya, come on in and introduce yourself, and we'll put up her presentation so all can enjoy. Maya.
Hi, I'm Maya Witt. I'm the communications director with Unity Rising. Thank you guys so much for having me here today. I'm really excited to be here and speak.
All right, let's put your,
Okay.
there you go.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, sorry. I wasn't sure if the presentation was up. So a little bit about me and why I got involved. If we want to go to the next slide, please.
Okay.
So I'm a first generation American and an Arizona native, and I kind of came of age during the time when it was pretty scary to be a woman, pretty scary to be first gen. I was in 6th grade during the 2016 election and a sophomore in high school during the 2020 election. And I experienced firsthand kind of the hate that the Trump administration brought out in people, and I knew that it was not okay and that something had to change. So in 2020, I started canvassing, I started phone banking, and then during the 2024 election, I was a digital organizer with the Human Rights Campaign. And both of these experiences helped me to realize like how important Arizona is and how crucial it is to have, leaders who care about our state and care about the future of our country. And then the next slide, please. So with that, there's a lot of groups already working in Arizona, so it's fair to wonder why this, why now? And we came together as a group after the 2024 election, and we dug deeper into the data to understand what went wrong. We saw major shifts with key demographics like young people. We saw a need for building deeper relationships. We know that our organizing model has to change, and most importantly, we know that we need to communicate how social issues are economic issues. Next slide, please. Working people, and especially young working people, swung hard to the right, and we cannot take Gen Z's support for granted. In terms of vote share, Arizona swung the furthest right of any of the swing states. So we believe that reaching out to these voters specifically will make the difference in 2026 when there's so much at stake. We also know from 2024 that the people who turned rightwards and swung Arizona to Donald Trump didn't feel like their needs are being met by the Democratic Party. In order to better understand how we can meet their needs, as a party, we need to build deeper relationships that will enable us to truly understand what folks need. And the next slide, please. Donald Trump did extremely well with voters who are concerned about the economy. And we know that Democrats do well with voters who are concerned about climate change. Climate change is an economic issue, but we have to build awareness with people about how these issues intersect. Building this awareness starts with encouraging Democrats to be more flexible in the methods they're using to organize and engage voters. It's about bottom-up organizing, something that LD11 does well. This is what will enable us to be successful in 2026 and beyond. As a party, it's our responsibility to grow and adapt with the times and meet people where they are. Next slide, please. And that leads me to our mission and what exactly it is we plan to do here, which is elect candidates who will center Arizona's working class through recognition of how social issues are intertwined with economic prosperity. Next slide. Our top priority is building awareness amongst the electorate about how social issues have a real economic impact on Arizonans. As we've seen recently with the devastating effects of climate change, these social issues are going to continue to have a significant impact on all of our lives. And thinking about public school funding, if we don't have good public schools, your property value is directly affected. Next slide, please. In 2025, we're focused on establishing who we are and defining the signature programs that will help us communicate the economic impact of social issues to voters across Arizona. We're committed to doing the work necessary to help Democrats succeed in 2026. Our mission is to listen to understand, not to just listen to respond. While that definitely includes voters, we want to build a culture of communication across the network of progressive organizations who are working in Arizona. We're laying the groundwork now to deploy organizing efforts to support targeted races necessary to flip the legislature and defend progress made over the past 4 years in Arizona. Next slide, please. There's groups like Turning Point in Arizona working to undermine our progress, but we are committed to taking them on. There's a long road ahead to 2026, but we are dialed in and ready to go. So thank you guys so much again. And Jacob and I are here to answer any questions.
All right, Jacob George.
Hi, everyone. I just want to say thank you so much to Maya. She's been amazing. Like I said, we kind of founded this group in right after the 2024 election, which was a pivotal election, as we know. And if you have any questions, we'd love to answer them. Cigna has been amazing. There's so many great people in here that I've gotten to know over the last couple of years. You may know me from Tim Stringham's campaign, or HRC, and I am also a school board member in the Balts district. We will leave our contact information. We also have a survey asking more about what your top priorities are. And Maya will put that in the chat. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, we'll be on for the remainder of the call.
Any questions, anyone? Drop them in the chat or, just unmute yourself. These young people, Unity Rising is our future. I've been in church all my life, and old churches that don't have young people die out. But, and the same principle is here, if people my age, I'm not dying, by the way, I'm not going to die, but, people my age, we've been doing this for a long, long time, but we need these new people, new blood to come in and to make sure that, the Democratic Party has that next generation and the generations after that to come. Jacob or Maya, if you want to, please drop your donation link in the chat, just in case, we do have people here on the line that probably would not hesitate to support you. So thank you for all the work you're doing, and we appreciate you. All right. Next, our special guest is Emily Watson, and she is coming to us from the Maricopa County Democratic Party. And she was one of the presenters at the chair retreat, and she has so much good information. Every time that I hear her speak, I learn something new. As soon as we can, we'll have her back again. But Emily, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, do you have my slides? Or
Yep,
you want me to
I
them?
do.
Okay,
I
let's
do.
get it. Okay, while the slides are being teed up, I want to
Here.
tell you first, your representatives and your Senator Miranda are my representatives. For those of us who live in red districts, I like to repeat to everyone that I talk to that the blue districts and the people that you elect are the ones that represent us. You represent all of us, because some of us don't have that voice because our elected officials are all MAGA. So thank you for everything you do, and especially thank you to your elected representatives. We're going to talk here. I'm going to take you through a whole bunch of stuff here fairly quickly, but let's just go to the next slide. What happened in 2024? We lost basically everything. I used to have a slide in here that said everybody named Gallego won. But actually, that kind of works pretty well up front. We lost. And what happened? In a nutshell, we didn't show up, and there were more of them. So we can look at messaging and demographics and all that stuff. But the bottom line is we didn't show up, and there were more of them. Next slide. This is what I mean by there are more of them. This is a graph that shows you in 2020 that there was about 100 voter gap in the registered voters between Republicans and Democrats. In 2022, Republicans and Democrats both lost voters, and the lines are parallel because they lost them pretty much equally. Independents did not. That's pretty flatlined. What's happened since 2022 is the Republicans have recovered and the Democrats have not. So at this point in time, there is in the November election, there was 177,000 vote gap versus the 100 vote gap we had in the last presidential election. That's for Maricopa County. For the state party, the numbers have more than doubled. So in 2020, there was 130 voter gap, and now it's about 300,000. And you can see by the purple line, in our minds, we like to say, everybody switched to become independents. And some did, but that doesn't make up for the gap caused by the number of Democrats that we've lost. Next slide. This is a reminder, mostly, of what Maricopa County looks like. Chopping off the big empty parts. These are all the districts. What are the twos in there? Wonder what I did. Never mind. These are, it's 28, 29. The numbers kind of got squished. These are all the districts in Maricopa County. And ADP has us basically divided into red districts, blue districts, and the ADLCC districts, which are purple. LD11 is smack dab in the middle. These purple districts, the reason they're labeled ADLCC is the ADLCC is the state branch of ADP. And in this last election cycle, they spent $20 million on those purple districts. They raised $20 million, and they supported the purple districts. The red districts didn't get any kind of support, which is really okay. We tend to have wealthy donors and do pretty well without their support. But the blue districts didn't get any support either, for the most part. And that's part of what I'm going to talk about today. Okay, next slide. When you think of those red, purple, and blue districts, this is a chart that shows the change in voter turnout by those districts. So the top of the columns say blue, ADLCC, red, and all. So those are the districts. They're not blue voters versus red voters. They're blue districts versus red districts. If you go straight to the bottom, you can see that compared to 2020, the blue districts had 34,000 fewer total votes for president than they did in 2020. The purple districts had about 16,000 fewer votes, and the red districts had 60,000 additional votes. So the bottom line is the red districts simply outvoted everybody. Part of that was driven by growth. So if you look at LD 15, if you look at 25, if you look at LD 29, these are areas where we're experiencing massive growth. LD 15 is out by Williams Gateway Airport. LD 25 is basically Goodyear down to Yuma, but these numbers just represent the Maricopa County part of it. And LD 29 is Surprise and out that way. Massive growth in the red districts, and that's what's happened. Maricopa County's growing at the edges and somewhat in the middle, but not so much in the middle. LD 11 is highlighted here because LD 11 had basically 1,000 fewer votes in 2020 than we did in 2024 than 2020. So the total change was about 10,000 additional votes, and for the most part, they were all Republican. So next slide. This chart shows you the partisan turnout. So Maricopa County Democrats showed up to vote 86% of the time, but the Republicans showed up 89% of the time. With rounding, it's about 4% better. So we have districts like my own. I live in LD3. I'm really proud of 92% turnout, but the reality is the Republicans showed up more. If you look at the column for others, which is independents, in some of the districts like my own, we've had for 6 years now a massive push toward getting independents to turn out. In a couple other districts, we've been doing that too. LD 10, for example, we had a big push this year and they had a 71% turnout. So LD 11 had 76% turnout by Democrats. It was at parity with the Republicans. It was really less than 1% difference in turnout rate, but your independent rate is quite low. This chart, I also put a column on the side. That's the average age of the voters. I put it here because I didn't have another place to put it. But basically, LD 11 and LD 22, 22 is even younger average age. The districts, and this makes a lot of sense, but the districts with really low turnout have a lower average age of voters. Next slide. And there's a blank. I do have made a chart here that compares the turnout by for president, and it was the compares LD 11 to the rest of the county. And I think we'll have to just share that with everybody a little bit later. Let's go to the next slide.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, I don't know what's
Mhm.
happening to the graphics. Let me see if I can
I
see.
know. Okay.
Yeah, they're not coming in on the presentation you sent me. So something went wrong.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to, let me see if I can share my screen. Do you want to give me screen sharing?
Sure. Do you see the share? Hold
It's
on.
still disabled.
Let me get to you. Where are you, Emily? There you are. Here we go.
Nope.
How about now?
Yay. Hmm.
It's not allowing you to share. Oh, she's frozen. All right. Emily, you back? Looks like we lost her. All right. I'll see it, wait for her to get back on. So let's do this really quick while we're waiting for Emily to come back on. The minutes were in the chat. Let's go ahead and anybody have any changes or anything to December's minutes? If not, can I get either a hand raise or a vote on accepting the
Motion
minutes?
to approve.
Motion
And
to
a
approve?
motion to
Okay, thank you, Lindsay. Can I get a second?
Right here.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Motion approved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Aye.
Aye. All right, a motion carries. And Emily, are you back? No. All right. Let me quickly tell you guys about the Levine barbecue that was mentioned earlier by our second vice chair. It is this or Saturday, February the 22nd, and it'll be at Cesar Chavez Park, 7858 South 35th Avenue, and it's from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. We will be there with the Maricopa County Democratic Party, and we will be there with literature and to talk to everybody. And I just put it in the chat, so there it goes. Or is it going? All right, my chat's not working. No technology is working now. Let's see, let's try it again. Nope, muted. Or I'm over the number. Okay. Still not allowing me. Anyway, Cesar Chavez Park, 7858 South 35th Avenue is where the Levine barbecue last year. It was great. They had a lot of food vendors there, several elected officials and other groups out there that made it really, really, really fun. So make sure you put it on your calendar, Saturday, February 22nd from 11 a.m. to 5 at Cesar Chavez Park.
Signa, do we still need to help Maricopa County with coverage for that table?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So if you fill out, and I did give everybody that asked for access the form, the volunteer form. If you want to volunteer, we'll be there from 11 a.m. to 5 to help Maricopa County Democratic Party man the booth, because LD11 is helping sponsor the booth. So we'll be out there helping along. So come out there and help, or just come and see us and stop by the MCDP booth and say hi. All right. I see that Senator Miranda had to leave. She put her information in the box. Are there any other elected officials?
Hi, how are you? It's
There
Representative.
she is.
Yeah, I've been on the line. I apologize, listening to everybody eagerly. As you know, our leader's in a couple meetings, and Catherine's at the other legislative meeting, and with Representative Cruz, and I'm at home being mom right after a session, so I apologize. But did you? Can I share the legislative update?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So,
And Emily, we'll get back to you. We just kept moving.
I'm
As
good.
you all know, it's been a contentious couple weeks. This past Monday, all of the members were able to drop the last minute bills whatsoever. Senator Miranda had introduced a counter to the current situation with immigration. You may have all read about it, which is an amazing bill, but really voices what our concerns are in the district. For those who don't know, our wonderful leader has been at the fight every single day. If you catch a glimpse of him, he's constantly fighting for our economy, making sure that bills are addressing things that we really care about, jobs, education, and everything else. And if it's not, he's pointing out, reminding those on the other side that this really hasn't been impacting what we've been focused on, and why are we voting on these? He's really at the fight every single day. As for myself, for those who don't know, I dropped 4 of the 3 bills. For the let's see, one was on basically we've had a 20-year data center tax credit. I've reduced that to 10 years and put that tax revenue into 2 water conservation funds, both on the for farmers and for WIFA funding for water maintenance. Second was on pregnancy discrimination, employment discrimination, allowing women who are pregnant to be able to get the support that they need at businesses. And the third is, right, I dropped it on Monday. It's been appointed on yesterday to a committee, and it's being heard on Monday, which is the missing persons bill. So our law enforcement, if you dial 911, it takes 3 to 5 days to get a warrant. And so this allows first responders to ping phones with the Data Privacy Act. It was formerly called the Kelsey Smith Act, and it'll be the first in the country enforcing also data privacy when they're pinging a phone at a certain amount of time. That's being heard on Monday, and it's exciting because it's the first bill for me to go through, and so hopefully we'll get support. It is gotten bipartisan support across the board, so hopefully helping those to save lives here in Arizona. And then the fourth, of course, you're going to love this, which is our lobbying, our conflict of interest lobbying bill for anybody who works on it. If you don't know, if you work at the state legislature, you can't lobby the state legislature, but a year after you've served. But this enforces that anybody who is paid by a campaign or at IE or a PAC, that they cannot lobby at the state legislature, because it's a huge conflict of interest, obviously. But other than that, the hottest bills that you guys are going to be hearing about this week is our Arizona wildfire bill, which is contentious. We're going to be voting on that tomorrow. It is now starting to be long days. Today was very long. Tomorrow will be even longer as we vote through these bills. They've gone through first and second and third read, and it's an exciting time. So happy to answer any questions if anybody has any right now. The legislature has been hitting the ground. It is also Black Heritage Month. So every single day we're acknowledging those who are in the state who have contributed greatly. We've had so many visitors. Every organization is fighting for their bills. And so happy to answer and also leave my information. So if you have any concerns, we've had wonderful guests come in from LD11, coming to meet with me or Senator Miranda and Representative and Leader De Los Santos, and just sharing, hey, this is an idea, this is a thought. What do you think? We're happy to explore it and dig deeper and see if this could possibly be something we could work on for next session. So if it's not, if you hear a concern now, that's one thing. If you have a concern and you want to bring it up to our attention, we're happy to entertain and think about what we can do, be it a policy, be it whatever action needs to be done. Feel free to email us. Our door's always open.
Any questions for Representative Cavero? Good work down there. I know it's worth it. Everything you guys are doing is worth it, and we're very proud to have you all representing.
I do want to share. I know how, the legislature is predominantly not in our favor, but because they're so fractured, that it is an opportunity for us to work on the other side by, maneuvering things. And so you'll see this session, more bills have been seen more Democratic bills have been seen this year than in the last session. Last session we dropped 325 bills. only 25 were heard and only 7 passed. And so that gives you a sense right now, it's date that we've already within 1 month have heard more bills than we've had in the last session. So just want to give you guys a little glimpse of what's kind of working and what's not. And that's a great opportunity. So high hopes, and we're just going to keep charging on.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Any questions for Representative Cavero? You can drop them in the chat or just unmute yourself. Well, on behalf of LD11, thank you for all you do. Let Leader De Los Santos know that we missed him, but there's always room for all of you guys to come back and talk to the LD. We appreciate you.
Definitely. I'm just going to stay on in here in the background, but
Yeah. And will you drop your information in the chat, please?
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think it was Mitchell. I think I gave you access, but if you still have an issue, send me an email. I was trying to, do double duty here.
That did work.
It did?
It-
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Any other elected officials on? Okay. Emily, are you ready?
I'm ready. Sorry about
Okay.
the disruption.
Take it.
Window. Can you see it?
Yep.
We left off talking about president, and I just put this up there because people are curious about how their own district did. In LD11, there were 1,000 fewer votes for president, and that equates to an additional, basically 4,000 votes for Trump and a reduction of 6,000 votes for Harris over Biden in 2020. The balance, these numbers don't add up. I'm married to an engineer and it drives him nuts, but I can tell you the difference is because this district had quite a few libertarian, green, and write-in candidates, almost 2,000 worth. As far as the county races are concerned, countywide, Laura Metcalf had more votes than Stringham. I think that was a surprise to a lot of people, but Laura ran a much longer campaign and was able to cover more territory talking to actual voters. LD11, of course, we would expect them to have one of the best voting records for our county candidates. And it was really more than a 20-point spread versus the county average. Across the county, an undervote on these county races ran about 8 or 9%. So these are voters who voted at the top of the ticket and left that county race blank. For the Board of Supervisors, it was an entirely different issue. In the Board of Supervisors, we saw anywhere from 7% undervote in LD11, which was one of the very best, to other districts that had a 15% undervote, and a lot of precincts that had as much as a 20% undervote. So people voted at the top of the ticket, and 20% of them left the Board of Supervisors blank. Now, Danny Valenzuela in District 3 lost that contest by 171 votes. So I don't know, Signa, if you've talked about it at all, but you'll start to see some activity on the part of MCDP to encourage voters to start attending the Board of Supervisors Zoom meetings. So just like we started about 4 years ago, encouraging people to go to school board meetings, we need a lot more exposure to the Board of Supervisors so more people will have a sense of how vital this organization is to our daily lives. But this is one of the areas where LD11 did just a really good job. It helps that you have the only Democrat on the Board of Supervisors, and Steve Gallardo. I need to spend a minute talking about TIP. TIP was a turnout improvement project sponsored by Maricopa County Democratic Party. We put together fairly late in the last cycle an attempt to raise turnout in the 4 districts. We called it the TIP because that was really the objective, to improve turnout. So it was LD11, 22, 24, and 26. We didn't achieve our objective. our objective was a 3% improvement in turnout, Democratic turnout. And obviously that didn't happen. And that was because of this, the massive depression of Democratic votes across the country. But we also had an objective to increase participation within each district. And that, for the most part, was very successful. I'll give you an example. LD 26 used to have meetings where they would call an LD meeting and one person would show up. I was at their meeting last month in Maryvale and they had, I think, 20 people there and far more active. So one of the things that we achieved was in districts like 26 and 24 starting to come along, we encouraged those chairs and those boards to get their legislators and their elected officials involved. And that has been really successful. And it's part of a way to expose the elected officials to their constituents and for the constituents to get more riled up because they see people who represent them in their neighborhood. That part was really successful. You also all know that these are heavily Latino districts. And in the news, you'll hear that there was a great suppression of Latino vote. We also didn't, I hate to phrase it this way, but the reality is we didn't do as badly as other states. So Latino voter turnout in Florida was down about 14%. Texas and Nevada were 12. Arizona was 4. And Maricopa County is, of course, about 60% of Arizona. We don't have the exact numbers, but in Maricopa County, it looks like our vote, suppression of vote was only about 1%. And in addition, in the other states, there was a huge drop off amongst Latino men. And in Arizona, that didn't happen. The drop off was equal between men and women. So TIP didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, but we've seen some progress here, and you're going to see more of this in this next cycle. When it comes to votes that are left behind, this is a chart to show you the legislative districts in Maricopa County and how many Dem-leaning votes were left behind. So in this case, we're not talking about Democrats, we're talking about Dem-leaning voters, which the DNC defines as voters with a score of 70 or better. The average Dem-leaning votes left behind in Maricopa County was 23%. And in these 4 TIP districts, including LD11, it was far higher than that. And in fact, we still left 177 votes behind. These are voters that just didn't vote at all. So here we're not talking about undervote. This is another reason why you're going to continue to see an emphasis on the 4 districts that were included in TIP. Now, what we did last year with TIP was mostly a lit drop and a mailer. It was 137,000 households. We did about 30,000 by mail and another 100,000 by lit drop. And the reason we did that is because this was a very short action and we knew we didn't have time to spool up people to actually go knock on doors. So we did a lit drop instead, and these are the results. So next year it'll look different, but targeting the same districts. Another thing that I just measured was we talk a lot about how young people didn't turn out. What's really interesting is in Maricopa County, 18-year-olds turned out better than the 30-year-olds did. And there's an ethnic element to it. So this shows you the curve for white voters, Native American voters, Black voters, and brown voters. And I found it really fascinating that there's a crossover point. What this tells you is in the youngest age group, the Black voters actually did better. So you kind of have to look at this as a negative chart. This is a chart of people who did not vote. But the Hispanic vote, it kind of levels out, was much flatter. And over time, in the older voters, we saw more of a drop off amongst the Latino voters. So the question is, what do we do about these 30-year-olds? And the suspicion is that these are people who are starting their families, they're starting homes, and it's not as interesting to be involved in politics. And I don't think we have an answer to that, but we're all looking into it. I just wanted you to be aware that there is an ethnic element to the voter drop-off. So what's going to happen in 2026? The governor's race will be a slate. So Governor Hobbs has to choose a lieutenant governor. We don't have any rumors, at least I don't, on who that might be. Looks like Mays is going to run again, and Fontes. And we do have a candidate who's already filed to run for superintendent of schools. There may be others, but the person who has filed so far, her name is Teresa Ruiz, and she is a former president of a college and is kind of making her rounds. You may not have heard of her, but she just sits quietly because she's trying to learn first before she starts talking to people. There also is rumor of a treasurer to run against Kimberly Yee. At the federal level, every CD is on the ballot, and there's already an individual who's filed to run against Yasmin in CD3. On the local level, the even-numbered Phoenix districts rep, everybody in Guadalupe Council, and of course the 9 school districts in LD11. So what works in reaching these voters? We all tend to look for kind of a magic bullet, like what's the one thing we didn't do? There really isn't a single answer. And especially as the voters become harder and harder to reach, we have multifamily locked buildings, which, by the way, the highest percentage of voters that are behind apartments and locked condos is LD5. You'd think it would be LD8 around the university, but it's LD5. We're seeing more and more gated neighborhoods or restricted infills. So where there's a lot that had a big house on it, they knock it down and put in 5 houses with a gate in the front. And there's also the issue of information burnout because voters have been bombarded for the last 2 years. What that means is we have to do everything. And one of the things that I work on with Maricopa County is trying to figure out how to target people. So the example I just gave you of LD5 having more voters behind locked buildings, we just started looking at that a couple of days ago. And the bottom line is the message you deliver is more important than the method that you use to deliver the message. So for example, postcards and texts have about the same effectiveness, which is pretty low, but they have vastly different costs. So you can send 30 messages for the price of 1 postcard. So we all got bombarded with text last year. Expect to see more of that. And the gold standard is not just knocking on doors, but knocking on doors by candidates. I got one last slide here, if you'll indulge me. I call this my bonus slide. And what I did is I took the number of Democrats in each LD and divided the number of votes for Harris by the number of Democrats. This is kind of a measure of efficiency. So in the example here down of LD3, for every 100 Democrats who voted, there were 82 voters who were not Democrats who voted for Kamala Harris. Republicans don't do this. The Republican numbers in almost every district are far lower than what the Democratic scores are. And it's because there's so many of them, they don't have to pursue voters who are not of their party. We do. So the bottom line is include independents in everything that you do. And I can entertain questions, but you're probably running out of time. So I'm going to drop my email address in here.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much, Emily, and thank you for being a trooper with us and coming back in. Really quick, she mentioned that about the Board of Supervisors, they're responsible for the county budgets and approving the budgets for the sheriff, treasurer, recorder, school superintendent, and county attorneys. And as she mentioned, as Emily mentioned, Steve Gallardo is the only Democrat. So he's got 4 Republicans that he has to fight with. So what we're asking, we do have an ask from Maricopa County Chair Patty O'Neill, is we need people to sign up to be county watchdogs who will monitor the county supervisors by watching the meetings, either in person or online, taking notes and sharing them with the group. And those can be posted in a Google Doc for internal review. The goal is twofold: to inform county Democrats about the activities in county government and to publicize the good and bad things happening there to the public. And whenever possible, the watchdogs will make note of or wishes for progressive policies. So with the new administration in DC and the county, watchdogs should be polite, professional, and discreet. And we want to be an asset to our own organization and even if possible, the county government. So I dropped the Patty O'Neill's information in there. If you're interested, please, please, please reach out to her. It'd be wonderful if we could have at least one of us that is on that watchdog team to report back what we see. And with that, we're down to the last 8 minutes. Are there any last minute announcements? Anyone?
Yeah, I got a quick announcement. Hey, everybody, it's Patrick. I was just a humble Democrat only for about a month, and now I'm the co-chair of the Black Engagement Committee. Hey, I just want to let you guys know that the Black Engagement Committee, we're having our first meeting of 2025, actually tomorrow. I'll drop the link in the chat. While the Black Engagement Committee focuses on issues and policies to mobilize and uplift the Black community, you can still, join us and, know what we're doing and be an ally in the cause. So, like I said, our meeting is going to be tomorrow. We're going to be outlining our 2025 agenda. You'll get to, of course, see me and my fabulous co-chair, Dr. Victoria Iyamba, and learn about what we're going to be doing, in that regard. So I'll drop down the chat. Hope you can make it. Stay hydrated.
All right. Stay hydrated. Well, anyway, yeah, the executive committee members, we're going to get together and we're going to come up with some ideas for 2025 and 2026 goals, mainly around recruiting precinct committee members and fundraising and getting ready for 2026. So, but if you all have any ideas, you have the email address for the chair. I'll try to drop that in the chat as well, so that you can communicate with us, because we need to know what you guys need. And so I will drop that in the chat so that you guys can give us some ideas on what you think that our goals should be for this year going into the election year next year in 2026. Anyone else? I got 6 minutes left. Well, thank you all so much. Thank you all for making this meeting successful and being here to listen and to contribute. And we just appreciate everybody. And each one, reach one, bring a buddy next meeting so we can start, expanding our reach and our footprint in LD11. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Can I get a
Seconded.
second? All right, so move. Can I get a vote? Say aye.
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 Any opposed? Say nay. Don't you dare. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Cigna.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.